Facebook groups that I own, my groups for my courses. So right now we're potentially in front of about here, Vibe Design STS. She's one of my fellow range of masks that she's created for COVID. So if you're looking to support a local business and if you wanted to support a filter, well, that's a bit free. The first one, is that too much? Nah. Firstly, I'm going to be sharing with you what has been going on this weekend. It's all about how to live your best life and how to, covers everything like mindset, personal branding, personal development, self-awareness, and then also obviously covers of all from Guru. Gabby's been blowing up my Instagram lately. She's doing an awesome job on my gram. She's managing all my socials for me, and I'm like I'm just a girl sitting at home with the internet. And awesome. Yeah, I know. I'm going to answer one of your questions live on our call today. So the questions that we're answering today are things around social media, around questions around that. Thoughts about growing an Instagram following, thoughts about, and lots of, I want to start off and let you know the way that I'm creating my current book, my latest book, is I'm literally going through all of the content that I've ever created in terms of getting on and doing things like this, any live streams, any blog posts, any YouTube videos, any of the masterclasses that I've taught, some of the free, some of the stuff that's in my free, in my paid courses, some of the stuff that's in my free courses. And I'm going through all of that content that already exists, and I'm piecing it all together to make one book that kind of covers the whole spectrum of everything, right? So this is something that you can all do. Like when you think about writing a book, you don't want to like, oh, I've got to sit down and write 70,000 words. No, you've probably already written, especially if you're already putting out authority content. So if you're already putting out content under your own brand or that sets you up as an expert, you've probably already got topics that you've already produced. So what you want to be doing is just repackaging them and repurposing them into a book. Now, if the thought of writing doesn't like float your boat, what you can do instead, this light of iPhone is so shit. Sorry guys, it's so blurred, it's so burnt. Is that you can pick up your voice memo on your phone and just record voice memos and then send it to a get your book. If you prefer speaking, then literally just get interviewed by someone, like get, a friend or a colleague to sit down and ask, and then go and get your book done that way. Easy, so easy. So, this is my first sip of wine for the week. That's a fucking lie. Obviously it's not. It is my first sip of wine for Friday though. Love that for me. Okay, cool. So let's dive into this week's questions. I'm going to start with Lily. So Lily is one of my students in Freedom Funnels, Lily Deveneau. And she's asked a bunch of questions. Hey, Jessica Love. Hey, Shahu138. Great to see you guys here. So Lily's asked, how to create a proper to-do list for the day, knowing the time of activity. Don't leave a sister hanging out drinking by herself. Thanks, hun. Oh, you're one of my newbie students as well, right? Didn't you just sign up to my fashion class? I'm pretty sure you did. Okay, productivity. I'm like a ninja productivity person. Like I'm super, I can get more shit done in a week than most people would in a month. Like I'm really work harder than everyone else. It's like the week, what you feel like doing each day when you're in like a state of flow. So for instance, for me, I'm like highly introverted. So I can't do conversations like this on like a Monday or a Tuesday or Wednesday, or in fact, any day until like Friday. By Friday, I've like got a bit of energy. I feel like talking to people. I feel like, coming out of my introverted shell. But if someone said, hey, I need you to do an interview or do a live stream on Monday, I'd be like, oh man, I can't do that on a Monday. On a Monday, what I naturally feel like, oh, Beck's on Facebook saying wine time. Hi, Beck. I naturally feel like doing admin. So Mondays, I feel like I want to tick 1,000 things off my admin, my list of things to do. I want to feel really productive doing my financials, and that's all happens on a Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, I normally do focused, and ads is the hardest thing that I have to do. So I do that on Tuesday because I know on Tuesdays, my brain's like super switched on. I'm like still very motivated for the week. And I love, I'm happy to do ads on that day because ads I find I'm happy to like get into crunching numbers. Wednesday and Thursdays are like creating, for the last few weeks, it's been YouTube videos because I'm trying to grow that channel. This couple of weeks, it's creating this book. And so I'm just doing that. I don't take email, not on my team. You literally cannot reach me. So I don't even reply to messages or anything like that. So that is what happens on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then on Fridays, I do things like this. So all of my live calls are on Fridays. If I'm doing any kind of, really feels like, and I'm, I feel like I've been in flow most of the week rather than like, rather than going, if I was like, well, you have to do a live stream, so you better do it on Monday. On Monday, I would dread that live stream. I'd be like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that could happen to me. I do not want to do a live stream on a Monday. So I feel in dread. But on a Friday, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's have a wine. Let's chat. Like, let's do it. So the biggest tip I can give you in terms of productivity is figure out your natural state of flow. And you just do that by just observing your own actions throughout your week. Hey, Britain Thrifty. Hey, Anarchist. Hey, Vacutros. Hey, Luca. Hey, Jonky Jonks. So just map out your week for a few weeks in a row and map out like what you feel inspired to do on that particular day, and then just schedule that in over the coming weeks. Thank you, Hilaire. I just got it, and isn't it so sexy? I love it so much. I have no winter clothes, as it turns out, and this is my first winter in Australia in 4 years, so I have like literally none. I've got like one pair of pants, so it's gonna be a fun winter. So that is how I plan my days. I'm like super structured with that. The other thing is I have no notifications. So unless you are in my, unless you're on my Slack is where my team hang out. Unless you're on my Slack, you literally can't reach me. So, and that's the other thing. Hey, Tiff Social Diary, hi. Thanks, Hilaire, love that. Hey, Teresa, I think I'm answering one of your questions today, Teresa. So yeah, so that's the other thing. You cannot reach me unless you're on my team through like Tuesday to Thursday. I just work on my own shit. I don't reply to emails. I don't like get on phone calls. I literally just work on what's going to grow my business. And really that comes down to what is going to make me money that week. So that's the sort of decisions that I make at the start of the week. How am I going to earn money? What's the thing that's going to earn me the most money that week? Well, that's the thing that I'm going to focus on for the week ahead. So that's how I structure my days as an entrepreneur. Hey, Dr. Rusa, Rainbow Doy, Brown Beauty. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Yay, Teresa. Okay, Lily's asked, do you know if it's possible to change your IG and or your Instagram handle without creating a whole different account? Yes, you can just apply. You can just Google this. If you Google how to change your IG or your Facebook, there's links that you can change it to. These days, they're pretty strict on changing it. So you can't change it from like, you know, if your handle was like beer and wine and then you wanted to change it to like cherry cupcakes, they're not going to change it to that because obviously your audience is interested in like this kind of content and they don't want to like deceive the audience that you've created. So that's, you wouldn't be able to change things like that, like a massive change, but you can definitely change like if you just wanted to like add, you know, certain words like to your brand or anything. Okay, and Lily's asked, when starting out, do you recommend starting off on one channel and expanding, or trying to serve multiple channels and then syncing them at once? So what I always recommend with social media is that you can't be a jack of all trades. So no, what's that saying? Jack of all trades, master of none, is that it? So what I recommend, and I know this because I didn't do this and it was really fucking hard, like growing on my Instagram and everything. You just want to focus on the platform that you love to create on. So which platform do you love hanging out on? Do you love being on Instagram? Do you love being on YouTube? Do you love being on Facebook? Whichever one it is, figure out that one and spend time on that one, and then do courses, like study it, right? It's a skill that you need to learn. So learn it. Like it's not something that, you know, the people that are good on these platforms didn't just wake up and knew how to create content. No, they took courses, they read blogs, they watched YouTube videos, they attended masterclasses, you know, they bought courses, like all those kind of things. So figure out which platform you're passionate about, because you're going to be hanging out on there a bunch of time. So you want to make sure that you're passionate about that live stream, about that platform, and then study it. So like learn how to be successful on that platform. It's not by chance, I'm here to tell you. Okay, I'm just trying to find my notes here. Seriously, fucking iPhones. So shit with this light. I lose my followers when I go on all. Which is best? Hello, what do you mean by that, hun? I lose my followers when I go on all. Okay, so Suha, one of my fashion clients, newbie fashion student, has asked, she's studying my fashion styling course. So she's asked, can it be possible for the stylist to be the model at the same time? Because according to the lockdown situation, maybe I can dress up in different outfits and get some poses indoors. Okay, so for everyone watching this that wants to start their fashion portfolio or wants to grow their fashion portfolio, Yeah, absolutely. So like when I tell this story all the time. When I started my fashion personal styling portfolio, what I did was I went to my three best friends, I dressed them in like daggy kind of like casual clothing, and I took a before photo, and then I dressed them in corporate clothing, and then I dressed them in like great casual clothing, and then I dressed them in evening clothing. All of my clothing, it was all stuff from my own wardrobe. I didn't go and buy it or style it or anything. It was all just stuff that I had or stuff that they had that I pieced together. And then that was how I started my personal styling portfolio. So yeah, absolutely. If you're doing personal styling, people don't want to see you dressing models, right? They want to see you know that you can dress a real human being. They want to know that you can dress someone with an ass or with big tits or whatever it is. So you need to, yeah, like for sure, I would be starting with you and your family and everyone around you. Call your friends, call your mom in. A lot of the people that you're styling will be mums, so go and style a bunch of new mums. So what I found the demographic when I was styling was they were either mums with like 4 or 5 year olds, so like they're done with their kids, they weren't having any more kids. The kids were now like 3, 4, 5, and they were now looking in the mirror going, oh my God, what is this body? I don't know what this body is. For the last 8 to 10 years, I've been buying shit for my kids. I don't even know where to shop for me anymore. So that was a big part of my clientele when I was a fashion stylist. The other big part of my clientele when I was a stylist was the other end of the spectrum for women. So women that were like retiring or coming out of the workforce at 40 or 50, well, not 40, probably like 50 or 60, and wanting to figure out how to dress like casual. Hi, Jen Kiner. The other amazing business that I need to shout out is Kindling Foundation, which is run by the amazing woman Jen Kiner here. Jen, if you're able to drop Kindling's, if you're still here, can you drop Kindling's Instagram handle? So Kindling is the charity that my brother and Jen have created. They have created this, it's a charity that helps build sustainable projects for communities, a community in South Africa. The communities in South Africa are in lockdown. And I mean, we think like, oh shit, we're running out of toilet paper. Have a think about what lockdown would be like over in a, thanks Jen, at Kindling Foundation, guys. And on Facebook, if you search Kindling Foundation on Facebook, you can find them on there. Like, have a think about what lockdown must be like for those guys. My brother and Jen are currently paying for all of their food. Maria, like the community that we support, they can't get food. A lot of they can't even go and buy food. They're not allowed out of their houses. People were getting arrested for leaving their houses, but they were leaving their houses to go and buy food. So then they're stuck in jail without food and without food for their family at home. So like, oh my God, words can't even describe what that must be like. So if you guys have a spare $2, $5, please go and donate to Kindling Foundation. Literally every dollar helps. It all just goes straight to the charity. So Jen and Grant, my brother, and all of the people work for free. They're all volunteers. And so if you donate $5, literally that $5 is going to the family over in Africa that we donate. And there's photos of those kids. If you want to see the most cutest kids on the planet, go and look at my Instagram following. There's photos of the kids on there. So they really need your support. If you've got, instead of stockpiling toilet paper, go and spend a couple of bucks with them. Okay, Monarch Collections, I'm going to answer one of your questions. Why don't we do you now? Okay, Monarch Collections has asked, how do you get your funnel to pop and have your brand stand out from the rest? Do you need to be a brand yourself if you were a fashion influencer? My influencer page is Tropicana Fashionista, but I'm barely getting started on collabing with brands. My pleasure, Jen. Thank you for the work that you're doing. You're amazing. Okay, Monarch. All right, so Monarch, I think you're in my Instagram course. Is that right? Did you just buy that course? So in terms of collaborating with brands, so the thing with these days with brand collaborations and brand deals is that where am I going with this? Okay, so it's called back in the day when I was first getting started, you had to have 30,000, 40,000 followers to get collaborations. These days, and personally what I look for if I'm going to hire an influencer is someone with you're in Influencer Nation. Awesome. These days I look for people they're called nano influencers. It's for someone with about 1,000 followers, right? So when you have a smaller number of followers, you have a higher engagement rate. Oh, hey, Hilaire is in my influencer course as well. So you have a much higher engagement rate. So if you have 1,000 followers, your engagement rate is probably going to be like 10% or 15%. If you have like, you know, I've got about 50,000 followers, my engagement rate sucks. I've got like not even a 1% engagement rate. It's terrible. So that's why brands are looking to do collaborations with nano influencers. So you can certainly get started doing brand deals, and I teach you how to do that in Influencer Nation. Is that answering your question? I'm just reading it again. How to have your brand stand out from the rest. So the way, yeah, I mean, I guess that's like a branding question, right? How do you have your brand stand out from the rest? Hey, Julio. Do you need to be a brand yourself? Well, do you need to be a brand yourself if you're a fashion influencer? So I guess you're asking if you're a personal brand as a fashion influencer. Is that the question that you're asking? I think it is. But yeah, if you're wanting to do brand deals, you can do them with less than 1,000 followers. I don't know if I answered that. Did I answer that correctly? If not, let me know. I'm going to move on to another question, but I feel like I didn't do a good job on that one. So let me know. Teresa, I think you were on the call. I saw your name pop up earlier. Teresa says, I'm interested in fashion styling. Also, I'm starting fashion school. Oh my God, I have 2 questions about fashion design, which I feel like I'm going to break a few hearts here. Would like to know a little bit more if having my fashion degree is more beneficial for this. I've got some bad news for you guys. Okay, and I'm actually going to answer the next question in at the same time because they're the same sort of question. So Farah XA, are you still on here? Let me know if you are. And Teresa, if you're still on here, give me some hearts so I know that you're still here. Because Teresa asked, I've always wanted to have my own fashion brand or work in one of fashion brands as a designer. This year I'm in year 11. I'm so confused as to what I'm going to pick after I finish school. So firstly, if you're in year 11, just to let you know, like I studied engineering. I went from engineering to fashion design, running my own label. Then I went from fashion design to, I did engineering because that's what my parents wanted to do. Then I did fashion styling. I ran my own fashion styling business. And then I think I had a day job in there. Yeah, I did. I had a day job as a recruiter for like a minute and then I got fired. And then I had a job, and then I started this business. But before this business, I was doing fashion blogging. So for the person who's in year 11, Farah, you don't need to have your life figured out right now. There is no way that you should have your life figured out right now. You're going to change jobs way more than I will ever change jobs. Like I'm a completely different generation to you, and you're going to change jobs a lot more. So for the people that are, you know, putting pressure on you for having your life all sorted in year 11, firstly, don't put that kind of pressure on yourself. And yeah, just let them know that your generation is not like their generation, and that you know someone who's hugely successful and has been successful in like 3 different industries now, and you can be that person too. So don't get yourself like, oh my God, you're 13 years old. Yeah, don't get yourself worked up about having to figure out your whole life in year 11. Like, oh my God. Okay, so for the people that want to study fashion design, I'm about to break a bunch of hearts here. So I ran a fashion label. I started it after my engineering degree, after I worked as an engineer. I started it with me on a sewing machine. Started with, I made 8 shirts. Yeah, 13, right? Crazy. I didn't even think I had 13-year-old followers. I started with me on a sewing machine. I made like 8 shirts. I can imagine you saying, goodness, Jen, you're so cute. I made 8 shirts. I sold 8 shirts. I made 8 shirts the following week. I sold 8 shirts the following week. 5 years later, I had 120 accounts around the world. We exported to Paris, Tokyo, LA, and South Africa. I dressed Paris Hilton back. This was like 10 years ago, before influencing was a thing. I did runway shows all around the world. I'm here to tell you, for everyone who wants to be a fashion designer, especially if you want to start your own label, don't. That's the number 1 piece of advice that I have for anyone wanting to be a fashion designer. Do not start your own label. It's literally a broken business model. The business model is, it's like, it doesn't make sense. So there's no way it can be profitable. And if you want to Google any of your favorite fashion designers, go and Google and find out how much debt they're in. So like Victoria Beckham, her label is in like $200 million worth of debt. If you're Victoria Beckham, literally every single person on the planet knows who you are, and you can't make money as a fashion label, then I can't, you can't, no one can. So, and if you look at the rate of fashion labels that are going out of business, especially retail that's going out of business, like retail isn't going to exist in 5 years' time. There is no such thing as going into a store, trying something on and then buying it from the store. Like literally that won't even be a thing in, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years. Certainly by the time you get to my age, young 11-year-old, 13-year-old, you won't be going to a shop. So in that regard, if you are passionate about fashion, what I recommend doing is figuring out how to do e-commerce dropshipping. So if you look at the shops that you purchase at, so you're 13 years old, I actually don't know where a 13-year-old shops, but I shop at, for instance, I bought this dress at showpo.com. Shout out Showpo, love you guys. If you look at the shops that you, yeah, exactly, Jen, go into secondhand clothing and repurposing, exactly. If you look at the shops that you shop at, they're not actually designers, they're resellers. So for instance, any of your fast fashion brands online, it's not someone sitting at home and sketching a design. It's someone who's figured out how to run an e-commerce shop. They figured out drop shipping. They're buying it from China for $20 and they're selling it online for $40. So that business model makes sense, right? It's a much shorter turnaround time. So the traditional fashion design model, when you're a designer and you're running your own label, the way that business model looks is you front up the money to create a collection. So that means you designing 12 pieces on your sewing machine and getting a 12-piece collection, 20-piece collection, whatever it is. You take that 20-piece collection, you door knock around to 50 stores. Those 50 stores, let's for maths, let's say on the 1st of January, those 50 stores say, yes, I'd love to have that for my winter collection. Can you deliver that to me in June? You go, yes, I will. So then they write you an order. It's just a fucking piece of paper. And they go, yeah, send me 100 pieces in June. And you're like, great, I've just made I've sold 100 pieces. No, you haven't sold 100 pieces. That you've had a promise that someone will buy those 100 pieces, but you haven't sold them. So then you go away with that promise that someone's going to pay you for those 100 pieces. You then go and make those 100 pieces. You pay for that out of your own money. You make them, you go through the nightmare of fucking manufacturing. You then get those 100 pieces back, which most of them will be, there'll be faults all the way through them. You then 6 months later try and sell them to that store that promised that they would buy 100 pieces. Only now, half of the stores have gone out of business. The other half don't want that collection anymore. The ones that are left, they take your collection and they sell it in their store and they don't pay you because you're a little label, and they don't care about little labels. They care about, paying their big labels. So they're going to take your 100 pieces and they're going to sell it and they're not going to pay you. That's the reality of running a fashion design business. So if you want to start a fashion label, that's your shit show. That's the shit sandwich. That's the reality of what running a fashion label looks like. So for all the kids on here whose hearts I've just broken, don't run a fashion label. Figure out an e-commerce shop. Like e-commerce is the way of the future. Figure out e-commerce. Go and do an e-course on e-commerce and drop shipping. That's how you you'll end up doing the stuff that you love to do about fashion design. So what you think that you love about fashion design is like creating great clothes and creating great looks. But as a fashion designer, so someone who ran a fashion label, I spent 2 weeks of my year designing clothes and 50 weeks of my year manufacturing, taking orders, business development, selling, marketing, all that sort of stuff that isn't fun as a fashion designer. So, and then I did it for someone else. So after I had that label, I was then headhunted and went and worked for a development company here in Australia. We used to sell to like Witchery and Target and Kmart and things like that. And they wanted to do an in-house label because obviously they had all the manufacturing set up. So they put me on as like the head designer. And it's literally the exact same shit show. Like, so just such a broken business model. So I just don't recommend it, guys. Sorry, Teresa. Sorry, Farah. Let me know if I've like shattered your dreams out there. Monarch Collection's got a drop shipping. For real, Monarch, why don't you like do some courses around drop shipping and like figuring out that. And Elise said, always get experience. I've worked for 3 years in design, production, e-commerce. It's been super valuable. I also ran a made to order label. Oh, you ran made to order. Yeah. Well, that's at least you're going to get paid for made to order, right? So that's the smart way of running a business. Yeah. So things like couture or like custom or like bridal, like I would do that for sure because you're getting paid up front. But yeah, I wouldn't do what I was describing. And yeah, what Elise is saying is like design, production, e-commerce. So Elise, this is the other thing. So like there are all these kids that are like, I want to be a fashion designer and work in Australia. There's like 10 fashion houses in Australia that actually employ a designer. And Elise, as you found out, like you were employed as design, production, and e-commerce. So like, you know, like one, maybe in that role, it would be like 1/5 of your job would be design. But really your job is production, right? So you're running spec sheets, you're doing like, you know, getting samples, you're doing fittings, like all that kind of thing, which again is not what you signed up for, not what you think that you're going to do when you're like, I'm going to be a fashion designer. So yeah, but in Australia, there's like, I mean, I can count on two hands the number of brands that would actually hire a fashion designer, like a straight up designer. Okay, this is a good question from Tiny Brown Closet. Fashion by Olivia, yeah. Fashion by Olivia is asked, is there any fashion design classes for kids like me? Look up La Mode, M-O-D-E, La Mode. They are an affiliate of mine. They sell my fashion styling course, but they also sell fashion design courses. And I really believe in her as a business owner. I really believe in the course that she sells. And yeah, we're in business together and I really like her. So, and I think her courses are good. She's got a lot of students. And Elise says, absolutely, there is a lot more nitty gritty work than creative. Yeah, for sure. It's all good. I'm so happy that you give me good advices. I'm all about the good advices, Farah. Just don't make the mistakes that I did of like that business. Oh my God. At the end of that business, I was bankrupt. So here we go. If you want to know the reality of running a fashion business. So that business, the manufacturer, I set up a factory with a guy in Vietnam, like a Vietnamese guy. That meant that I spent like 3 to 6 months of every year living in Vietnam, working on a cutting room floor, literally on a cutting room floor, cutting you know, fabrics and shit. We had our biggest collection to date, like a biggest sales to date, like I don't know, 150 grand or something for one collection. That manufacturer went out of business. He kept all of my products, kept all my patents, kept all my stock, kept all my fabric, kept it. That then put me out of business because I prepaid for all of that shit, right? So that was all prepaid for. All of the fabric was paid. Everything was bought. He went out of business, put me out of business. I went bankrupt. And then just the level of work that's involved in running a fashion label. I ended up like in the hospital with cancer, with stomach ulcers, on mad medication, like anxiety, like anti-anxiety pills, antidepressant pills. Like all of the shit was going down as a result of running a fashion label. So like literally don't. Okay. And we were we were successful. Like we were really good. Like we were really, oh, Kellyanne, I'm going to answer one of your questions. We were really successful. So like, I don't know what the people that weren't successful are like. What about a small business like a boutique? Fashion by Olivia. Figure out online business. You're 13 years old. By the time you get to my age, there is not going to be boutiques. You need to figure out e-commerce. So all of the stores that you like to shop at, are you in America? I'm guessing that you would be. Let me figure out a shop in America that I shop at. Nasty Gal, Nasty Gal, that's so Australian. Not like Nasty Girl, or what is another American shop that I buy from? Oh, do you know Nasty Gal? Anyway, Nasty Gal is what I'm recommending you do. So that's drop shipping. That's drop shipping and like buying from China and e-commerce. So that's what that is. So you want to do that. Okay, Tiny Brown Closet. Best way to get your first customers. All right. So if I was just getting started and I was trying to get my first clients, my first customers, what you need to do is you need to go and find your first customers. So your first customers, when you're just getting started, they're not going to come to you. They don't know who you are. You don't have any brand authority. You don't have any awareness. So what I would do is literally go and find my customers. So these days, what that looks like is getting into Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups, or even searching Instagram hashtags and starting conversations and engaging in conversations with people who are already your target market. So there is someone out there who already has the interest and the attention of your target market. So what you want to be doing is going and getting in front of those people and sharing value, sharing service, sharing wisdom, sharing, sharing, helping. So if I was Tiny Brown Closet, if I was trying to get my first customers, and I don't know what business you're in, if you let me know what business you're in, I can give you more specific info, but I would go and find a Facebook group. In fact, I would find 5 Facebook groups every single week that your ideal customer is hanging out in, and I would be a superstar in that group. So I would be leaving comments on everyone's post. I'd drop 5 comments every single day, and then once a day I would start a conversation myself. So I would do something like, hey everyone, what's everyone's favorite color today? Or whatever it is that's relevant to your, to whatever it is that you're trying to sell. So for instance, for me, it might be something like, hey, what's your biggest struggle with getting your business online? Let me know so I can help you. And I would post that in these Facebook groups, and then I would go in and I would help people. And it's just like hand-to-hand combat, right? Like, it's just like getting in, conversing with people and like, actively going in and connecting with the audience. That is how I would get my very first customers. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, go and find groups. There is Facebook groups, there are LinkedIn groups, which I didn't even know about until recently, but and there is a group for fucking everything. Like whatever you're interested in, there's a group for it. Hilarious asked, any good suppliers besides China? I'm not really sure. I don't do drop shipping. I love AliExpress though. I shop on AliExpress almost every single day. I'm obsessed with it. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I think Amazon does drop shipping, right? Yeah, it does. Okay, so Gabby, my superstar social media guru, who is again crushing my social media at the moment, has asked how to write a good caption. Okay, so here's the thing. Look at this lighting. Sorry, I'm just reading and thinking at the same time. What would you... Okay, let me continue this conversation. It's a good one. It's Christelle. I said Christelle. Would you take the conversation offline and continue talking in messages in groups? Yeah, so I guess it's like if the group is privately owned, which it probably will be, there's probably rules around group etiquette, like around whether you're able to like DM people. But if someone has like engaged in a conversation with you, you want to have a conversation with them and then eventually just go, hey, I'll send you a DM with more info. And if someone is like I would share my first line of knowledge publicly just so that people are going, oh my God, she's really smart. She really knows all about that shit, right? Like, oh, it's super good. So I would share it publicly first. And then if someone comes back and engages with you, I would then go on to a DM and be like, hey, I'd love to chat with you further about this. Let me shoot you a DM. I'll chat with you further. Jen Kiner, I'm going to slide you in because I love you. Jen has asked, and Mandy asked me this last week. I answered it last week for Mandy, but I'm going to answer it because you're live. What's the best time to post on Insta, and how does live stories work? If you post more, do more people see the post? Okay, so the best time to post on Instagram. So back in the day, okay, let me think about this. There are a few things. Back in the day, the algorithm used to work in a way that it really favored time. So you had to be super ninja with like what time you were posting. You had to post at the exact time, and it was a very important thing. These days, it's less important. So the algorithm more so favors the number of, the amount of engagement that you get in the short term. So the velocity of your engagement. So if you get engagement quickly, like in the first hour, I think what's Instagram? So YouTube is one day. Yeah. So Instagram is first hour. So if you post something and you get a lot of engagement in the first hour, then that's going to help promote it out to your worldwide audience. Because I know that was the question. Hi, Trilly. Cheers. Lovely to see you. So what you want to be doing, Jen, there are apps like Iconosquare, and we use Iconosquare, and I'll tell you the time of day. There's Time to Post, which is an iPhone app. So you want to certainly be posting when the majority of your followers are online, because obviously that's going to help get that high velocity. However, if you're really serious about wanting to get views, what you want to be doing is tag a friend. Exactly. Yeah. So it's all about, so these days it's all about engagement. And so, and it's actually about, so what happens when you post on Instagram? Let's say you have 1,000 followers. You're going to put a photo up. If in that first hour, 10% of your Instagram's going to show that to 10% of your followers, that photo, right? If 10% of your followers see it and 10% of that 10%, does that make sense? 10% of the first lot that see it, if they engage, then Instagram's gonna go, oh, there's like a lot of engagement on this post. I'm gonna show it now to 20%. And then if the next round of like 20% of people, if a large proportion of them engage, then Instagram's gonna go, oh, this is a really good post. I'm gonna show it to 30% of your audience. And then if you start, if you start getting engagement on that, like that initial reach, then the algorithm will start showing it to firstly more of your existing following, and secondly, that's how it'll eventually get onto the Explore tab. So the way that you get onto the Explore tab is by having a very high engagement rate, which is less about what time to post and more about like the quality of post and the amount of interaction that you're getting on the post. So how do you get interaction on your post? Firstly, you before you post, you get on for like an hour beforehand, or however long you have, and you engage with people. So these days, the way that you grow an Instagram following is by engaging with your own audience, which is what Gabby is doing for me right now. You engage with your own audience so that then Instagram thinks that you have a really high engagement rate. That's the number one criteria for getting your content shown to more of your audience, is your engagement rate. So the way that you grow your engagement rate is by having actual conversations and actual dialogue, meaningful social interactions with your existing audience. So for you, what that looks like is literally going and engaging with the people that are already following you. So go and like their photos, send them DMs, comment on their photos, have conversations on their photos, and you do this before you're about to post. So you do this, like, you know, if you know that you're going to post at midday today, at 10 a.m. you get on, you like a bunch of photos, you send a few messages, you like a few comments, and then everyone's going to get this notification like, oh my God, Jen Kinder's liked my photo. And then bam, the next time that they log in, your picture is going to be right at the very top of their post. They're going to have a warm, fuzzy feeling about you because you were just giving them some love. They're going to give you some love. And then that initial velocity is going to be really good. So your following is going to be like, your engagement rate is going to get like, you're going to blow up your engagement rate. And then that's how you get your content seen by more people. So hopefully that helps. I'm just seeing what your other question was there, Jem. How does live and stories work if you post more, do more people see in the post? I mean, I feel like the number of people that watch my stories is higher than the number of people that see my posts. I feel like that's just the way that people are consuming content these days. I haven't tested that out though, so I don't have like actual data around that. But I think that is that what you were asking, Jen? Do you have anything else? Let me know, Jen. I'm happy to help. Trilly, what if you get hate comments? How to deal? Okay, so here's the thing. Oh, hi, Amanda Keldon. Amanda is one of my students in, I think you're in PPP, aren't you, in Amplify? So Trilly, if you get, okay, so here's the thing about haters. And I know that a lot of people don't put themselves out there because they're worried about getting hateful comments, and they're worried about getting trolled, right? So I've been pretty public for about a decade now. Like I've, done a bit of TV, I've been on all the platforms, all the things. I reckon I've been proper trolled like maybe like 3 or 4 times. So like the first thing I want to like let you know about that is really if you're a nasty person online, you're probably going to get trolled. But if you're not a nasty person online, you're probably not going to get trolled. So for starters, there isn't as many trolls going around as you think. That's the first thing I want you to know about when you're worried about putting yourself out there. Like it really isn't as, it really doesn't happen as often as you think. Secondly, the other thing that I always remind people about trolls, think about the last time that you said something nasty to someone on social media, if you ever did. I mean, obviously you wouldn't because you're amazing and you're a beautiful person. But when was the last time that you actually said, you like shot some hate at someone? What kind of state were you in when you shot that hate? When you were like throwing that shade? When you were like being an asshole to someone? Like, were you in a good place? Were you loving yourself? Were you loving your life? Were you happy with your environment? Were you just like living your best life? No, you're in a fucking dark place. You were hating life. You were hating yourself. And so you decided to displace that pain and pass that pain on to someone else. So whenever I see a troll, especially like if they're trolling something about me, like all humans are only triggered by the shit that we hate most about ourselves, right? So, you know, if someone's like, oh my God, look at her lips. I'm like, oh, fuck, you really hate your lips. Oh, sorry, babe. Like, I always just think like that's a reflection of something that you hate most about yourself. And because you hate that about yourself, you're going to try and displace that pain and put that pain onto me. So that's what I always think when I see a trolling comment. I always just think, oh man, you're fucking having a terrible day. Like, look at your day. You decided to leave a really awful comment on like a random person's advertisement. Like, my ads get trolled from time to time. And I just think, man, you fucking hate your life. If you've got enough time to stop your day and like leave something nasty on someone you don't know, you're hating life right now. So I just have super empathy and sympathy and compassion for that person. So that's how I feel about trolls. Come at me, trolls. And also, like, your vibe attraction tribe. Like, if you're being a troll, you're gonna get trolled. But if you're not, you know, like, you can't really, like, I don't vibrate at the level of trolls, so trolls just ain't gonna come at me. Thanks, Canubia. It's deep, right? Deep on a Friday afternoon. I feel like I missed a couple of questions. NAXXA said, hey beauty, I'm so interested in the fashion industry, but I don't know what's best to choose. I thought about fashion styling, but I don't know how to start. How can I learn about it and finally start? Oh my God, are you serious? Stop what you're doing right now, NA. Go to the link in my profile, search for how to start a fashion styling business. It's a link in my profile. And I have an hour-long free masterclass. I will literally teach you how to get started. I'll teach you how to get paid in the 6 types of fashion styling. For anyone who's on my Instagram live, can you tell NAXXA how good that fashion class is? Because there's a bunch of you that are on here that have been to that free class. So do a girl a solid and tell her how great that class is. Oh, and everyone's agreeing with the wisdom bombs. Love that. Did I answer? I'm already a little bit tipsy. Gabby, did I answer your question? How to write a good caption? I didn't. Okay, so how to write a good Instagram. Oh my God, I'm matching my green artwork. That's so chic. Do you have fashion design Zoom classes? Oh, thanks, Jen. You're so cute. I don't have fashion design classes, but I'm pretty sure there's a fashion design Zoom class at La Mode. So if you go to La Mode College, oh, sorry guys. If you go to La Mode College, I'm pretty sure she's got a webinar. Okay, so how to write a good caption. Okay, so how to write engaging Instagram captions. I know my eyes match. I know, I love this color on me. This is how I do Instagram. Oh, my filter's gone. I'm like, why do I not look so cute? My filter's gone. 1 second, guys. Let a girl get her filter back. Come on. Okay, so this is how I do Instagram. This is how to write a great caption. So, and this is how I do all of my Instagram. So what you want to be doing with your gram is, because no one really, I mean, who knows what is a good, you know, piece of viral content, right? Who knows what's going to work? Who knows what people are interested in? Who knows what people are going to like? We don't really know. So unless you're going to like study it, so study based on what's worked for you in the past, what have people really engaged with in the past, what's been, you know, high engagement for your content in the past, which is something that you could definitely do. Go and review all your posts. What I do, that's certainly something you could do, but the other way that you could do it is go and review your competitors' posts. So pick out 5 competitors, go over to their Chrome, like open their Instagram on a Chrome, like on a browser, and then scroll through to see the number of engagements, like the high engagements on their posts. And you'll see like some posts have like 10 comments, some posts have 20, some posts have 50, and then some posts will have like 200 comments. And you're like, well, why has that one got 200 comments? So then what you want to be doing is opening that post up, copy and paste that post, as in the post, the image, the call to action, post it over into a spreadsheet or a document. And you want to be doing this for 5 of your competitors every single week. At the end of that week, you're going to have, let's say, hey, Claire Daly, you're one of my students as well. At the end of that week, you're going to have maybe, I don't know, let's say you got 10 posts from your follower, from each competitor. You're going to have 50 posts in that document. Then you're going to look at that document and you're going to like reverse engineer why those posts work. Were they, you know, was it the call to action? Was it the style of image? Was it the, was it a video post, or was it a carousel? Was it the fact that it was a long form blog style content? Was it funny? Was it a meme? Figure out what works. And the reason that you're doing this is because those people are already testing content for your audience. So rather than you starting from scratch and trying to figure out this whole content game, you just want to go and find what's already working for your audience, do it for your following, exactly replicate it. So if you find a post that's working really well, copy, paste. Obviously you're going to turn it into your own words, that goes without saying, but figure out the formula and then duplicate that. So that's how you do good captions. Great question, Gab. Can I call you Gab? I don't even know if I'm going to say that. Georgia has said, best way to get into the modeling industry. Hi, Irina Stylist. Georgia, the best way to get into a modeling industry is take a few headshots of yourself and body shots of yourself, super plain white singlet, plain denim jeans, no makeup, and you're literally just taking selfies and then photos from side-on photos, and then full-length photos and photos from side-on as well, and that's it. And then you just email them to a modeling agent. So you just Google modeling agents in your area. You send them 8 to 10 photos of you super plain, no makeup, no no styling, no amazing imagery, no amazing glam or anything, just super plain, and you email them to your agent along with your measurements. That's it. Kellyanne Rose. Kellyanne, are you still on the call? I'm just getting to your questions now. My thoughts on Alexander McQueen and Alexander Wang. I love them both. I'm a huge fan of Alexander McQueen. I'm not cool enough to wear Alexander Wang. And I'll be interested to see how they survive the COVID-19. There's a bunch of luxury fashion houses. Well, are they luxury? There's a bunch of high street fashion houses that are going out of business. So I'll be interested to see how the luxury brands go, because yeah, I mean, obviously fucking luxury designer clothing is an essential when we're all locked at home. So it'll be very interesting to see. Another reason why you shouldn't start a fashion label, kids. Kellyanne, if you're still on the call, I'm going to answer your question. Kellyanne's asked, why are my emails going to spam? So Kellyanne is one of my students in my Freedom Funnels. It's my masterclass. It's my course that teaches you how to run an online business, how to create e-courses, how to build funnels, all that kind of good stuff. So first of all, Kellyanne, you sent me an email and you said that your test email went to spam. So first of all, if you're sending an email to yourself using one of those providers, it may go straight to spam. So if I send myself one from Active Campaign, it often goes to spam. So don't worry about that if it's just for you. The other thing is you can Google to find out if you're on a spam list. So you can check a spam blocker, and literally you can ask to be removed from spam lists. So your IP might be blacklisted depending on a bunch of things. So if I were you, I would just Google is my IP blacklisted? And there's heaps of topics around that. You can get yourself off of spam lists, all that kind of good stuff. Fashion by Olivia, what's your question? I'm just trying to get my green dress so I can read it. Fashion by Olivia says, small fashion designers in Australia. What's your question? I don't know what the question is. Jen has asked, any feedback on the thrift market? Oh, I reckon I hadn't thought about it until right this moment, but let's think about what's going to happen. I mean, I reckon there's going to be a lot of, I mean, I know you're not asking about this, Jen, but I reckon there's going to be a lot of people selling their designer luxury stuff secondhand. So I reckon if you're interested, which I know you're interested in getting a Chanel bag, in getting, luxury stuff, I reckon there's going to be a bunch of secondhand stuff coming on the market. But yeah, you heard it was growing more than the current fast fashion market. Yeah. I think what COVID and what 2020, the blessing in all of this is that we've all realized that, a lot of the way that we were living our life was A, not sustainable, and B, not fucking important, right? So I think all the people, I'm not surprised that the thrift market is growing quicker than fast fashion. I'm just trying to think it all through. As if anyone's going to go shopping and buy fast fashion now, it just seems completely fucking irrelevant. But going to a thrift shop and getting a bargain and getting probably something that you used to see on, in a luxury environment, it's makes a lot more sense. So yeah, I'm not surprised. And like, great, right? Oh, you love thrifting, Elise? That's good. I never got into it. Claire, do you batch social media content and do it each day? Oh my God, Claire, I'm the worst at content creation. What if I'm not going to tell you what I do because I'm terrible, but when I was good at it, when I was like super focused on it, yeah. So again, like something that I started this conversation with was productivity. So you want to try and think about when you're most likely interested in creating great content. So creating great content means like, you know, step one is either taking the photographs, and then step two is scheduling it, writing the captions, finding the hashtags, all that kind of thing. So step one is super creative. Step two is super administrative. So I rarely feel like doing both of those things on the same day at the same time. So for you, what I'd figure out is when do you feel like creating the creative side of the content. So that could be like, you know, on Mondays, I love creating graphics. I love taking photographs. I love editing photographs. I love doing all the creative side of things. Great, you do that on Mondays. But on Tuesdays, you might feel like doing all administrative tasks. So on Tuesdays, that's when you would, load all the content into a scheduler like Iconosquare, which is what we use, or Planoly, or like anything like that, and then write all your captions, go and find all your hashtags, all of that whole formula. So like I mean, and again, I'm just thinking about like the evolution of social media. So when I first started, I was super organic about it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just here like doing whatever I was doing, like photo, caption, post, bang. And that's how I grew my following, to be honest. Like I grew it super organically. No apps, no planning, no thought, just like, here I am. And then when I realized it was a business, I treated it like a business. So then I would batch my content, whatever it was. I would batch like 2 weeks of content, and it would just fire out all by itself. I would never engage. I would never have any kind of meaningful social interactions on the platform. I would just like let this app fire off all my content for me. I would schedule it on the Monday, and it would shoot content out for the week. That hasn't been great for me. My engagement rate is super, super low. So I don't really recommend that you do that. But I'm just trying to think about what I would recommend. Let me have a think. Let me have a sip of wine and think about what I would recommend these days. I feel like we're going back to more organic content, more authenticity, less scheduling, less apps, less bots, all of that kind of stuff. I feel like that's where we're headed with social media. So if I was to give you some advice around that, I would be giving you advice around, sorry, 1 second. My fucking business partner just keeps calling. Inika, leave me alone. I guess the thing is, like, I hate creating content. I hate posting on Instagram. I hate doing social media. I hate it. So for me, I have to batch it, otherwise it won't get done. So figure out if it's something that you love to do. If it is, prioritize it, because I believe it's a great way to grow a business. But if you don't love doing it, then batch it and just get it all done and get it so it's automated and it's not something that you have to worry about. And I guess it's just going to be different for everyone, right? Because it kind of just depends on how you feel about the social medias. Oh my God, my filter's gone again. So rude. Claire is saying that makes sense. Oh, hey, Elle. Hey, lady. Okay. Hey, Amanda. So Amanda's taking my course on creating great content. We've been going for an hour already. I feel like we should wrap this up, and I might just go and have some more drinks by myself. Are there any other questions whilst we're live? I'm just reading the questions that have been sent through previously to see if I've covered everyone. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, Hilaire. I know it's super late for you guys, but I just don't think that I can day drink. I mean, fuck, who am I kidding? Oh, there's like 1:58 remaining. I didn't know that. Automated posting programs, Canubia, Iconosquare, Planoly, Hootsuite. Hootsuite's expensive. That's probably it. I like Iconosquare. It's affordable. I think it's like $100 a year. But you could Google. I'm just thinking about some other ones. Hang on. Instavast. Yeah, they're probably the ones that I would recommend. And yeah, Monarch, the whole reality of life is that you need to figure out how, when you're in flow, and to do more things when you're in flow of life, of your own energy, of your own soul, of your own heart, whenever you feel like doing it, right? Because then you get to the end of the week and you feel like you've had a great week. Nothing felt like you were like, you know, pushing shit up a hill. Everything felt like it was a cruisy week. You did all the things that you love to do. You got everything done that you love to do. And the way that you do that is by mapping out your week and figuring out when you're in flow with your own soul. So if I were you, get a piece of paper, write Monday to Friday, and then just jot down what you feel like doing each day, and then do more of that in the future. Like plan your days around that. But it's really just a self-awareness tool. Take a couple of weeks to figure out how you're feeling on Monday versus Friday and try and like map your week around that. But for everyone who's hung out live, thank you so much. Tiny Brown Girl Closet, I answered your question at the top of the class, actually about halfway through. So you'll have to go and watch the replay. But for everyone who's hung out live, thank you so much. So fun. Happy Friday. No classes about writing Haleb, but I'm going to teach you about how to write in my new book. Okay, gotta go, guys. Let me turn this one off. Exit.